Hey there, gang. Patrick King here. Thanks so much for joining us. Today's question is brought to us by Peggy. Peggy says she's working with a 15-year-old quarter horse gelding that was originally saved from slaughter by a friend. They have no history on the past 15 years with this horse. He'll go forward when they're riding, but then he wants to stop, grab the bit, and either back up or turn in the opposite direction that they'd like him to go. He's got no buck or rear. He has no clue what the leg aids are, and he just plow reins, so he's just direct reining. She says when he tries this, she turns him in a tight circle, bumps him with her heels until he decides that forward and straight is easier. She says, I make the wrong things difficult and the right things easier. She says it's very difficult to get him into a trot or canter while they're riding. He'd rather stand still or walk. He's sound. His feet are okay. They've ruled out pain. She says he's sweet. He just insists that he's retired and he doesn't have to work. And she wants to know what my thoughts are on this. Now, I'm so glad, Peggy, that you took the time to rule out pain. Reading your message, that's the first thing that I would have gone with, is ruling out the pain. I would have him looked at, because you don't know his history, I'd have him looked at by the dentist, by the veterinarian, by the chiropractor, kind of the whole 9 yards there to make sure that everything is great. Now, it sounds like you've done that. So kind of where I'm going to go with this, not knowing the horse, I'm going to say he kind of needs to change his personal philosophy because you don't know what his history is, and because it sounds like he's not really got a whole lot of education, if he's not real sensitive to the leg and really doesn't understand much in the way of the rein aids. What we need to work on is educating this horse as though he were a young horse that had never been saddled before, potentially needing to change his personal philosophy. It's like you said, he kind of thinks he should be retired, and he's pretty sweet about it and pretty happy with his job, but what his job is not that job, right? You've got the desire for him to be a riding horse, and he's pretty sure he should just be a pasture potato. So one of the things I'd be sure of doing with a horse like this is bringing energy into everything we did with him. If I was leading him on the ground, we wouldn't be walking. If I was riding him, I would do my best to not be walking. For a couple weeks at least, I'd never be walking with this horse. We'd be standing still, or we'd be trotting or cantering forward. So on the line, on the ground, you might have to get pretty active to get him there into the trot. Again, kind of changing his personal philosophy. It's sort of like, maybe a teenage kid. You ask him to go get the mail, and it's just out at the end of the driveway, and he'll do it begrudgingly. So you move the mailbox about 2 miles down the road and you send him to go get it there. Then by the time you bring the mailbox back to the end of the driveway, he's pretty happy about going and doing that. It's about the personal philosophy there. So again, kind of handle him as though he's a young horse that's never been started. Take him back to the beginning. Make sure that we can get control from the ground at higher gaits, control of all 4 feet, really getting him to where he's putting some effort up into whatever job it is you're asking him to do. Now, this might mean very short, frequent sessions. You might find working with him 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, 2 or 3 times throughout the day for a week or 2 is enough to change his plan, enough to change his program. Just really be thinking forward in everything that you do, and allow him to have paychecks, allow him to have rest periods for that very forward work that you're doing. Now, it sounds like you're doing a lot of kind of, like you said, bending him in small circles, bumping him with your leg. I would make sure to have a horsemanship flag, a dressage whip, a training stick, something like that handy at all times. You might find that when you try to offset him a little and you ask him with your legs, rather than bumping him, rather than using a lot of leg, I might kind of scare him with that flag to move him forward. Nothing changes a horse's mind more than a little bit of a spook forward. So that might be something that you would attempt to do. It's like you said, he doesn't seem to have any kind of buck or rear in him, so kind of push the limit. Get him a little emotional there to get him forward, and make sure that you reward him for the forward and that you spend the time to help him relax after you've got him emotional, if you have to go to that piece. So Peggy, I hope you found this helpful, and I do hope you'll keep us posted with the progress that you're making with this horse. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A question of the day that I've got for you: what sort of, if any, what sort of work program, fitness program, do you have your horse involved in? What do your workouts look like with that horse? So put your answers for us in the comments here below. Don't forget, you keep sending in your questions. I'll keep answering them for you. Thanks again for tuning in, guys.